Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jerel Hendricks. We've got a great interview today, a very special guest for part of our HTC Hometown Connection interview series, and that's the head coach of the Aynor Blue Jackets, Jason Allen. Coach, how you doing today?
Good, guys. Thank y'all for having me.
Well, we appreciate your time. We really do. This is you guys' first time tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS, our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Coach Allen is in his 7th season with the Blue Jackets with an overall record of 45-19. They currently sit at 4-1 this season. Coach, we typically start with some background, go into your background, how you got there, all that stuff. I feel like this week we've got to go back with the ball game last week for you guys. The 39-35 win over Conway. You're down, I think, 35-17 with under 8 minutes left. You get a pick six, you get a stop, another touchdown, and then Conway basically just has to kneel out the clock and have a confusion there, and your guy strips it, scores, you win the game. I mean, what's going through your head that fourth quarter? You guys are making that comeback, and especially that last play there to win the ball game for you guys.
It was just, we always talk about just go score, doesn't matter what the score is. If you go score, we typically onside kick the ball a good bit. So we feel like if we get lucky and get a couple, if you just keep the pressure on, and maybe get a turnover, then you can get back in a game pretty fast, even with, kind of what we do, which is, mostly a ground game. And, we scored and made it 35-25. We actually, got down to about the 10-yard line and threw a pick and actually trying to hit Austin Tanyika, and then he picks it off 2 plays later. So I kind of felt like we, maybe would have scored what we probably would have anyway. And then get a stop. They had a penalty, and then we score again after a good punt return. And, we went for the onside with about 2 minutes to go, and we didn't get it. And, you just always tell the kids, man, make them take the knee. And, they had a situation where they really couldn't, kill the clock on the first 3 downs. And so they let the clock expire and take a 5-yard penalty. So it left like 0.2 on the clock. It's just really crazy. And, honestly, man, I feel really bad for Conway and, the quarterback. I mean, they played their tail off, and they deserve to win too. But, we got a kid in Luke McCracken that just don't quit, man. And he is a bull. And that's really weird. He's playing outside linebacker and he plays quarterback for us. So, and he probably played the whole game. And he just relentless pursuit. And I think the kid just kind of misunderstood what the horn sound meant. I think he thought the game was over. And it looked like he was maybe trying to throw it to the ref to kind of, kind of be like a good sport. Hey, here's the ref, here's the ball. And, we just stripped it and scored, man. It was just chaos.
What kind of boost does that give your team and your program, especially as you progress through the end of your non-region slate? But just those good feelings of, the weekend after a game, going into that week of practice, what kind of boost did that give your squad?
Well, we play 3 5A teams and a 4A team. We had to travel 4 hours to Aiken, and anytime you're playing up in classification, man, it really becomes a depth issue. I think our first 11 to 15 are really good, but it's just like, and then those guys get to practice the whole time. So to go 4-1 versus 3-2, it doesn't seem like a lot, but man, we play. I think we have 4 teams in our region in the top 10, actually top 7. So it's no break coming up by any stretch. So just to be 4-1 and have a week to kind of be excited about that game is really kind of cool. So it was a big boost.
Well, let's circle back now, Coach. So obviously, you've been at Aynor for as long as you've been coaching pretty much, but how about telling some folks kind of how you got into coaching, how long you've been there at Aynor now, and when you took over as the head man?
Yeah. I've always known I wanted to coach. My brother says I was an 8-year-old drawing plays in class, and that's really true. It's always been a dream of mine to be here. And then when I got my first job, it was a teaching job here back in 2003, and started helping with the JV. And, Marty Jacobs was here at that time. And then, he moved on and we hired Jody Generett, and, I was a defensive coordinator for a long time, and then a JV head coach and a varsity OC, and then a full-time varsity OC. And, and then he left in 17, and we got the job in 18, and we've been doing it ever since. So been here a long time.
Kind of foreshadowing a little bit, like I'm taking a Daboism here. He likes to say, bloom where you're planted, and you've obviously been at Aynor for a long time. What's that process been like, throughout your background of, graduating from the school, obviously going to Clemson for a little bit and graduating there, but just spending your career there and not going other places? How special has that been for you? And then how special is it to be there as a head man and have success?
Well, I grew up watching the Diamond. We talk about the Diamond a lot, and that had a lot of respect back in the '80s. Coach Manus, Dave Manus did an amazing job, and all his assistants, and that's what I dreamed of being. And we didn't really live up to the hype that they did when I played, but man, I knew that the second I could get back, we wanted to restore the glory, and we feel like we've done a lot to do that, but we got a lot left to do. But it just gives you a lot of pride, just the fact that we're playing Conway. Aynor never played Conway in football. I mean, I think the first time we ever did it was, or maybe the second time, maybe it was like in the first time it was in the 50s. And then so in 2021, we played them at Conway. And it was just very surreal to see us playing them and, to have some of the successes that we've had, 6 straight playoff appearances and winning a region title and just things that, you just dream of. So it's just an honor to do it every day. I don't feel like I'm working. I tell them all the time, man, they're going to have to roll me out of here when I get real old. I'm getting there, getting close.
Coach, for people who maybe aren't familiar with you or your program, you run a pretty unique style of offense, especially. But what do you like to do on both sides of the ball? And, how did that kind of offense, that hammer there, come to be for you guys at Aynor?
Well, man, we have tried it all. I guess it's not always the most popular scheme. You don't watch it on Saturday and Sunday. So, a lot of the people in the stands think that we should be throwing it around. But, I tell people to go in our gym and count the track championships and the basketball championships and then look over there at the wrestling championships. And you see a bunch of wrestling titles. And it's not like our coaches don't know basketball and track, but we just aren't blessed with, I guess, a lot of team speed here. And so it just fits who we are. Our philosophy is to pressure you in everything we do, whether it be offense or defense or, onside kicks. We want to, just keep the pressure on. And, it doesn't matter how fast the guy is, I'm running right at him, and that allows us to, use what God has given us, which is a bunch of strong kids, tough kids. They're unselfish. It's not about, them. It's about the team. And, like I said, our quarterback plays defensive end or outside linebacker, and he's lead blocking half the game. And so, I really, I tell them all the time, I'd rather have a lineman than a quarterback any day of the week. So, it's just who we are, man. It's just, it's become our MO. And while it may not be overly popular, I think it's even less popular for people to have to play it. So it's pretty cool for us.
Does that mentality come from you directly as a coach? You mentioned spending time on the defensive side, but like that tough physical mindset, or is that more of just like these kids got it in them from being from Aynor?
I guess it's both. I mean, they've been doing this now. All of them been doing. We really started this under Jody back in about 2010. People don't realize we used to run the spread and we zone read, RP, all that stuff, and it's really tough when teams just go man to man and just bring the house on you if you can't make a play in space. I mean, the spread was originated to get small athletic kids in space back in the 80s because Oklahoma and all these teams were running the wishbone. And so it just allowed them to get those guys out in space and utilize their speed, but that's not what we have. So for us to start that in 2010, it's just they don't know anything different now. That's all these kids know. And then, of course, we reinstall it every year and demand, physicality. And, we hit every day pretty much. I mean, it's just, it's like throwing and catching for a spread team. Just hitting's a part of what we do. So.
Coach, you mentioned a couple of your guys that have had, big impact so far, but who are some more, players that have really stood out so far in this 4-1 start for you guys?
Well, like I mentioned, Luke, Luke McCracken's a junior for us. He's just been, really, really good. Just one of the toughest kids I've ever met. And, that's just kind of who we are. And so that's been fun to see him. He was a 160-pound 10th grader last year on varsity. And now he's, 195 and, just super strong. And then Matthew Kirby, man, he's just, he is the perfect Aynor running back. He's not going to flash you, but he's going to run over you. And, he's a bad man for us and, does a great job. Obviously, Austin Tanyika kind of sets the tone for us. He plays everywhere. I tell him we don't want him to know what he's going to do based off film. He might be a tight end, fullback. You may see him at running back and even at quarterback. He's just that kind of guy. And then our O-line, I don't want to mention one of them, but just we're a young team up front. And, we've got several sophomores starting and some juniors. I think we're only going to really lose 2 guys off of the whole front. And for us, that's, we have formations where we have 9 O-line. So, it's just pretty cool to see those guys take ownership and do a really good job. So those guys have really stood out. We got a bunch of other ones too, man. I feel like I'm leaving them out, but just a really good group, honestly.
Coach, you touched on it briefly about your non-region slate, playing some difficult teams, playing up in classification and things like that. And again, you guys are sitting at 4-1 this point in the season. What's the main thing that you've learned about your team so far through the first half of the season?
We knew they were tough in the spring. I told my coaching staff, I said, man, we're gonna have to back them off, man. And I've never really said that, but I mean, they're some dogs, man. And they don't look like they're gonna be that kind of kid, but I mean, every one of them like to hit. And so I just saw what I thought I'd see, which is a team that's tough, and physical. And, we had a bad night against Socastee, but it was more about us stopping us and turnovers and snaps over our head on punt and just little things that kind of derailed us that night. But other than that, we have, really done a good job on offense. And honestly, defense has been great up until the other night. And you got to credit Conway, man. They came ready to play. Their O-line was amazing. The backs are good. So, but it's been what I thought it would be. Just a physical group that loves to get after it, man. Is that they don't ever quit.
You guys play in, probably the toughest 3A region in the state, in Region 5 3A, with guys like Dillon, who's always a contender. You got Loris, Marlboro County, both look really good this year. How much does it help having a bye week now before you kind of head into that tough region slate?
That's huge, man. It's like the night we were talking about it. What if we had to turn around and play Marlboro County this week on a Wednesday night? You just the emotional game, playing Conway. I mean, that place was packed out, man. And then you got to go from that to playing again. It's just having this week off is huge. We've been missing a kid named Shalik Nash, who's finally come back to us, and he's probably our best athlete. And so to get him back, get him acclimated and ready to play, so that's going to be really, really big for us. So, and then just the transition. It's a new season. Doesn't really matter what we've done now. It's all about how we're going to finish and getting prepared for these teams we're going to play, because they're all really good, man. Every one of them.
At HTC, we're here to keep you connected. Here to provide reliable fiber optic internet with free, fast, and secure HTC Smart Wi-Fi. HTC, here to connect.
Coach, a couple easier ones before we let you go today. I know you're a Clemson alum, just like Jerel and I. How do you feel about the start of the season so far? I know that that first game is a little bit shaky, but the boys have seemed to look a little bit better to me, at least the last few weeks.
Oh man, I graduated in 02, and we won the national championship there in 16. And my dad's one of those guys that can't watch the game. He gets so nervous, and so he blows the horn when we get the onside kick, and we all go out. Him and my brother and I were dancing in the yard. I went to the 15 game. And, that was the longest flight back ever. But it's awesome to see what Coach Sweeney's doing. And, I've always believed in what he believes in. We use a lot of that here, about growing the kid. And so it doesn't surprise me that they've answered, and it's difficult. You'll see it with Georgia. It's difficult to keep that level going, and so sometimes you got to fall back. And I don't know, we didn't fall very far. It's like when you win 9 games, that was a good year not too long ago for Clemson. So we're excited, man. We're excited. They've really found something on offense, and I think our defense is fine. So I'm looking forward to the game on Saturday night against Stanford.
Most definitely. I'm just glad to see some points being scored. That's a lot of fun to see from Clemson. I haven't seen that much the last few years. Coach, looking at you mentioned that you take a lot from the Clemson program. One of the hashtags is one that I've seen a lot, be uncommon. That's on your profile. But you also have hashtag on board. What do those mean to you and mean to the Aynor program?
Well, at Aynor, just like anywhere else, but really specifically at Aynor, you have to be great at the details, the small things. We're not going to show up and out-talent anybody. And, so that's the first thing we talk about is do the common thing in an uncommon way. And that's a, George Washington Carver quote that I've heard my whole life growing up. And, we had some coaches here that inspired me and that honestly reminded me of Dabo before he got to Clemson. And to see him implement that stuff, I'm like, wow, this is the things I learned growing up. And it's really cool to see it work. And for me, on board is, are you willing to do what it takes to succeed, even if it means putting the team ahead of you? We're in an offense where the quarterback lead blocks, the running back lead blocks for the wing. It's not like today's game where, you're throwing it out there and, targeting a receiver. And that's what he does the whole game is just, go up and catch balls or it's about a running back that's the star. We don't really have that, so are you willing to do whatever we ask, whenever we ask for us to be great? Because together, I think we can beat anybody. But when we get that, we have that problem sometimes where some people want to be the man and we just have to remind them, man, that's not how we got where we are.
Coach, maybe it's in your office on a home game or on the bus to an away game, but what's on your personal pregame playlist kind of help you get ready for the action on Fridays?
Man, it's been so cool to see Creed come back, man.
Okay.
Yeah. And my wife always picked on me. I said, I'm telling you, they're going to come back. They're going to come back. And I've always been a huge Creed fan. So anything they do is really, really good for me pregame. And it's just really, we went to their concert this summer. And it's just awesome to kind of see them get back in the spotlight again one more time. So that's probably my top.
That's awesome. Coach, Kevin and I are big foodies. Don't know if you've ever seen our program, but this is a question we ask everybody who joins us. What are some restaurants in the area? So if me and Kevin are coming down there for a football game, obviously you got some big-time region matchups coming up here. We're coming down for a ball game. Where should we get a bite to eat?
Oh, man. There's a lot of good eating this way, man. A lot of country food. Hoppin' Witch is a great new place, man. You got to try it out. Hoppin' Witch is awesome. If you're going to take them out for a fine dining, you can go to the bistro in Conway.
There we go. Date night.
Yeah. But, and then Aynor's got some, the China Wok, man. You can't beat that.
Yeah.
Want to do some things. CW Wings. So a lot of good places here, man.
Perfect. Well, last one, Coach. What's it going to take for you guys to, get through this region stretch and then make a deep playoff run after that?
Well, stay healthy. I mean, we're at a place where we don't have a lot of depth. We got a lot of good kids, but it's just we have been the last couple of years, injuries have really, really hit us, and we've been fortunate so far to be relatively healthy. And so do that, continue to grow the offense. I know a lot of people think I hate to throw the ball. I actually don't. I just like to win. And if running it is the best way to win, then that's what we'll do. But if throwing it works, we'll do that too. I think we had 210 yards passing in our previous game. And so I think people kind of thought I was, sick that night, but we got to continue to develop that, continue to develop that. So if a team does say, hey man, here it is, see if you can do it, and we need to be able to execute it. So those are our biggest things.
Well, this has been great. I want everyone to go follow Coach Allen and the Blue Jackets program on social media. They do a great job posting updates on their kids and whatnot. So definitely check them out on there. Like I mentioned, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, movinchains.com. Podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Movin The Chains brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. This has been part of our HTC Hometown Connection interview series. Jerel, anything else for Coach? We'll let him go today.
Coach Allen, we wish you continued success this season and beyond. You guys stay healthy. We will definitely have our eyes on your team and that region throughout the duration of this season. Just really excited to see what you're able to get done on this program and with this program. And I'm just excited to see how it all shakes out down there for you.
Coach, we appreciate your time today. Look forward to stopping by a practice or a game soon and getting to meet you in person. And best of luck, all right?
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today. Put Founders in the game and win big with our great rates. Whether you're looking for a loan or want to grow your money with a certificate, Founders Federal Credit Union can help you move the chains on your financial goals. Not a member? No problem. Visit foundersfcu.com to see if you qualify. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions